Vinyl community, happy Wednesday. It's me, JC, and I'm here to do a very special video, which is going to be the David Lee Roth box set from Rhino Music. I just got it in the mail a few days ago. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this box set. And at the end, if you stay to the end, I'm going to do a ranking of the David Lee Roth albums. So we all know that I'm a huge David Lee Roth fan, huge Van Halen fan. So even though I own the majority of records on this box set, I decided to buy it because there were two I was missing, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. The cool thing is Rhino puts in a custom box. Look at that. With the DLR on there. Kind of like what they did with the ZZ Top box set. Now, Rhino has been killing it lately, and so I'm going to cut them a little bit of slack with this box set because, man, those audiophile series has been stellar. Their reissues that they've done for Van Halen and the Ramones, they've been killing it lately. But I do think they missed the mark on a couple items on this box set, and I will get into that quickly. So first off, it came in this box. There's no booklet or anything. It's just the 5 records, which we'll get into. But the box is cool, heavy duty, cool graphic, shiny graphic. Definitely dug it. So let's talk about all the good. The cover art. The cover art, because I have originals, I can compare them. You know, for instance, like Eat 'em and Smile here and Eat 'em and Smile there. This is a little bit darker, but I will tell you the resolution is great. It's like they had the original cover art. So there's no like pixelated or it's not a CD scan blown up. The cover art looks amazing. Rhino always does a great job on that. And they recreated the custom labels that are on the original releases. So that was pretty cool too. So the cover art is good. The other thing that's great about this set is the last 2 records, A Little Ain't Enough and Your Filthy Little Mouth, are impossible to find on vinyl. This alone sells for more than the entire box set from Rhino. So if you're looking for these 2 records, this box set is a great deal because you get the box set for $125, and this record alone is impossible to find, but if you find it, it retails way over $100. And every time I've ever seen this in the wild, it has had massive ring wear because it's almost an all-black cover. So to have these 2 albums in my collection, couldn't be more excited. All right, so let's talk about the bad, and then let's talk about the ugly. So in terms of the bad, these did not come in polyline sleeves, and the albums were absolutely filthy. There were paper particles on the album. There was tons of static. So you're going to really have to scrub down the albums before you listen to them, get rid of those paper particles, and get rid of the static. I mean, it was so staticky, it was hard to pull out. The other thing about it is that in comparing to the originals, when I did a shootout, the volume is much lower on the reissues. Now, the reissues still sound good, and I know volume isn't a key indicator of if it sounds better, but it was a noticeable difference. So in terms of volume, compared to what I normally crank it, it was much, much louder. So I would say these are cut very low in terms of the volume, but the sound quality is there. Rhino always does a good job. So if you don't own originals, I will tell you that you probably would never notice a difference. You're just going to have to put it a little bit louder. So in terms of the sound quality, the edge goes to my OGs, but it still sounds good. Now the ugly. My Eat 'em and Smile has a warp. Unfortunately, it only affects the first track. Rhino is going to replace it, and they're going to send me a replacement, but I got to send the entire box set back. They can't just replace this one record. So that really is a bummer because I've waited a couple weeks to get the box set in, and now I've got to package it back up and send it to them. So very, very much a bummer. So that would be the ugly. The good, it's a great price, great quality in terms of the jackets, in terms of the music. The bad, no polyline sleeves. The albums take a lot to get that static away and get them clean. And then the ugly, there was a warp on mine. I know they were all individually sealed also, so I had to open up all of them and check all of them to see if there was any warps. So if you're one of those people like Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame, and you want to keep it sealed for a decade, you might open it up and find out that it's warped, so I would not recommend that. Guys, so now let's move on to the ranking. A few weeks ago, I saw Brendan Snyder do a ranking of the DLR albums, and I said to him, man, my ranking is so dramatically different. I'm going to do a video. I'll give you a shout out and I encourage my friends to do a ranking too. If they want, you can put it in the comments or make a video because it should be fun. Now, before I get started, if your favorite album ranks low, I love all these records. I'm a huge David Lee Roth fan. So it's not like any of them are bad. They're all, to me, they're all great. It's just a matter of some I prefer more than others, and I'll get into that. So I'm going to mark dead last David Lee Roth, Crazy from the Heat. This here was his EP, done 1985. I was a huge David Lee Roth fan. This was all over MTV. It's all covers. It's all EP. You know, I don't pull it up very often, and it's probably because the Just a Gigolo, California Girls songs were overplayed. So there's probably some burnout factor, but listening to it again, I absolutely remember being 11 years old when this came out and being so excited going to the store and buying this album. It just happens to rank last. Next is going to be the album Diamond Dave. This here is all cover songs, but they're done in that David Lee Roth flair, as you can imagine. Still very, very entertaining. Still a lot of fun to listen to. And I feel like I like it more now than I did when it first came out. When it first came out, I kind of listened to it a couple times, dismissed it. And then they did the vinyl reissue, and I realized that it really is great, especially since David Lee Roth has not been very prolific over the last 20 years. So I will take anything I can get. Next, and this may be some people's favorites, and I think for me, there was a giant letdown. There was a giant you know, Eat 'em and Smile was so great. And then when this came out, it had the big hit, Just Like Paradise. But I just didn't connect with it as much as I did Eat 'em and Smile. That being said, in hindsight, I still enjoy this record tremendously, as you can tell by my ranking. But it's certainly, there are others in the collection that I love more. So next one is Skyscraper. Now here's an album that I discovered late in my life. I did not discover it when it first came out. I knew about the album and I'd heard a couple tracks off it, but I never really did a deep dive until my buddy Aaron said it was one of his favorite DLR albums. And I was like, man, me and Aaron get along and we have so much in common with music. I've got to give this another spin. And he's absolutely right. It's a fantastic album. It may throw some people off because it's very eclectic. It's not a hard rocking heavy metal album. So if you're expecting that, if you're expecting a hard rock album, it doesn't really go there. In some places it does, but it's an eclectic mix of all different genres of music, just like David Lee Roth. Very, very good album, and I feel like completely underrated. Next on my list is going to be A Little Ain't Enough. In terms of a hard rockin' album, this definitely fits the bill. Just a great album. You know, Van Halen and David Lee Roth were kind of neck and neck for a while there. You know, they did 5150, and he did Eat 'em and Smile, and then they did OU812, and David Lee Roth did Skyscraper. Both of those albums had a little bit more keyboard on it. And then Van Halen came back with For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge and David Lee Roth with A Little Ain't Enough. Totally underrated album. By the time this came out, you know, the hair metal hard rock was kind of dying and grunge was coming up. So a lot of people probably never really paid much attention to this album, except for the hit, which was called A Little Ain't Enough. I would totally recommend diving into this album. It is fantastic. Okay, my last two. Number 2, DLR Band. And Rhino, if you're watching this, reissue this one. It's friggin' awesome. The DLR Band is an album with John 5 on guitar, believe it or not. My buddy Aaron sent me this CD, and I fell in love with it. It is just absolutely fantastic. David Lee Roth, completely rock. And the cool thing is, I mean, it says DLR Band. You know, back when this came out, there was no really, internet wasn't that prevalent. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that didn't even realize this was David Lee Roth. But if you see this, you should buy it. It is fantastic. And then I'm sure you've done the math to figure out what my number one is, and it's Eat 'Em and Smile. I just love this album. I love it so much. And I know some people, they may think this is the best. They may put it lower because of burnout factor. But, you know, Big Trouble is my all-time favorite David Lee Roth solo song, which is on this album. I can't get enough of that song. I've never gotten sick of that song. You know, Tobacco Road, the big hits like Going Crazy and Yankee Rose. Man, just fantastic. I love this album. So there you go. There's my ranking. There's the good, the bad, the ugly of the Rhino box set. But Rhino is going to make it better. Thank you, Rhino. And I will join you soon with another video.